bleeding out on a foreign dirt, somewhere, to almost dying in my house of like, pills and shit and alcohol and whatever, to, realizing like life's worth a lot more than a jail cell or laying on a floor, narcotics or something like that.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my show. And today we got my buddy Casey Mitchell in the house. I'm super excited. He goes by the One-Legged Monster, and he's a United States Army combat veteran. And in 2010, his patrol was attacked by an explosive device where Casey and his patrol sustained several injuries, including Casey's left leg. Casey underwent 44 surgeries to recover from the attack and battled with painkiller addiction, alcoholism, and depression during his recovery. He later found powerlifting, which helped him work towards sobriety, and he is now a competitive powerlifter and one of, if not the strongest amputee in the world, who has a deadlift PR of 630 pounds. Is that still accurate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, right now, no, for now.
Yeah, for now. He's also an entrepreneur, a motivational speaker, a father, and the CEO of Rising Lab Supplement Company. Casey, welcome to the show, man.
Stoked, man, to be here. It's been years since we've seen each other.
Yeah.
Years.
Literally years.
Years, yeah.
And what's crazy is that you and I both ended up having this social media kind of career, and we started off in Bakersfield. Like before social media, this was at In Shape.
Yeah.
Remember this was what year was this? It must have been 2014.
14, about that, yeah.
Yeah, so 2014, we used to train at the same gym called In Shape Fitness in Bakersfield. And I remember seeing this guy who was an amputee and was training, and I was like, man, this guy's fucking badass. and I don't know who talked to who, but one of those gym friend situations where you work out in proximity next to somebody enough times, you start a conversation, you build a friendship, and that's how we became friends. We started training together.
Yeah, I have pictures and videos of us training. Man, we were tiny.
Yeah.
We were young looking too.
Yeah, we were a lot younger then. 2014,
man. It was a long time ago.
This was before the beard.
Yeah,
before the beard.
Yeah, the beard was barely. Yeah, I hadn't hit puberty yet, I guess, or something, man. But it's been a long time, man. I know we've tried to get together a bunch of times. I know we see each other in passing around, the fitness industry and stuff. But I mean, I haven't seen you in so long. To get here is pretty exciting.
Pretty surreal. Yeah, it's pretty surreal to think about having this conversation, years later after where we both started off in Bakersfield. Wow. Like even both like not even in the fitness industry whatsoever or plans to get into it.
No,
it was literally just us hitting each other up and be like, hey, you want to go train today?
Yeah,
let's go.
I have a picture of us driving from Bakersfield to Venice in your Jeep.
Yeah.
And I remember going to your Jeep that morning and helping you take the top off the Jeep because we were like, it's gonna be nice up there. And then us rolling up there, and then even people kind of giving us like crap, like, why are you guys driving all the way to Venice? But like, in our minds, we knew like where we wanted to be at. And we're, and it's like, I'm a believer in like, put yourself around the people who you want to be like, and, and stuff like that. So we would just drive up here and train and have a good time. And I just, over time, I think you and I maybe understood what social media could do and things like that, I guess. I know we talked about a lot of stuff, and then damn, you live here in Venice now.
Yeah, so, literally a couple of years later. I don't even work.
It's
that was whenever I was working as an engineer. And we would get off, or I would get off work, and then we would go train together. And I remember, I think I sent you a video of at the time, I think it was your PR, which was like 275 for deadlift. Do you remember that? Or maybe 3 plates back then. No, I mean it's still incredibly inspiring. Yeah, man, it's so crazy. And I remember us just like you said, coming to Venice, like making that much of an effort, driving 2.5 hours just to go train.
Metroflex.
Yeah, go to Metroflex.
Metroflex. We drive around. That's what we
go
did.
to the Fit Expos. We'd walk around and meet some of the celebrities, like the fitness celebrities at that time.
Who are now our friends.
Yeah,
That's what's even more surreal to me.
Now.
It's like, I remember standing in line to meet people. I mean, Rich, I used to stand in line to him and Bailey's and them, and now I'm friends with them. Like, I mean, I got real close with Rich, obviously, but
let's talk about that, because I remember he came down to Bakersfield to do like a meet and greet at one of the supplement shops, and I still have a picture. I'll see if I can find it. I was way skinny. I was way skinny.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody next to Rich
Yeah.
looks like they never worked out a day in their life.
Yeah.
And I remember going to, I think it was Body Exchange after that, and you and him kind of like connected and started talking, and he just like really admired you and what you were about. And I was just like, fuck yeah, I was like, go Casey. Yeah,
it was
go
cool.
Casey.
It was definitely weird because like I knew he was coming, and I was like, and even though I was at that meet and greet, I wasn't even there to meet him. I was there to help my wife at the time like set up. She was the one doing it, she was the body, she was killing it, and so I was there to help her like with her little apparel sponsor set up and stuff. And then Rich was there, and obviously I was stoked to see like the dude. And then after everything kind of died down, we just kind of had a small conversation. And then I just remember, he just kind of, learning a little bit about my story. And then I just remember him being like, so, would you be interested in shooting a video, with me? And I was like, yeah, hell yeah. It was like, let me know when and where. And I'm there. And he goes, well, tonight, right after this. And I was like, what? Like, what? And I think I was trying to like, at that time, I was like, I didn't know what I was going to be in my life, as far as fitness. But I think I was cutting, trying to get like more like lean. And I remember I had been on like no carbs hardly at all. So I'm like asking Steve Southers, who owned the store, I'm like, hey, dude, you got like, Carbolin or anything like that to like shove carbs in me so I could actually go down here and like lift heavy, kind of thing. And so I'm drinking Carbolin, and I remember just Rich just following me in his Bentley, and I'm in that big old truck that I had. I remember calling you and Austin and all these guys that we trained with. And I was like, just tell them, get to Body Exchange right now. Rich is on their way down there. And people are like, I just left there. And I'm like, no, Rich is coming down there right now to shoot content. The next thing you know, we had like a whole posse of people.
Like 30 people.
Whole people show up there. And it was just, it was a crazy, surreal event. And then, I just remember like shooting that video and then hanging out and eating pancakes with him at Denny's. I mean, he's such a humble, solid dude, even though he has his own little ways of what he did, but he what he was doing, and people have their opinions about him, but I knew him, and he was just, he was so good to all of us. And there wasn't anything that he's getting out of that. He wasn't getting anything out of that. And I remember just like, that's when I felt like the whole fitness thing started for me. I remember just laying in bed one morning, like a couple days later. And at that time I had my Instagram notifications on because I had like 400 followers or something, if somebody commented or said something, I want to know, And then I just remember laying in bed and my phone is going insane. And I'm like, what is going on? It can't be that picture of Rich that I posted like this morning, And I look, and Rich had like posted me and told people my story and had a YouTube video going up. And people were just so tripped out by me. And that's when I realized like, man, this is pretty crazy. Like this is, I'm here to do this. And I just was like, wanted to push it to another level. I didn't even know what at that time, what I wanted to do yet. But, I just try to learn guidance from somebody who's been doing well in the industry, and he kind of brought me in, pretty well. And I just kept doing it, and then just kept growing, and then we kept training, and then it just, And
you like went on your own trajectory at that time. I think at that time I was like, I had done a bodybuilding show maybe, or was prepping for my first one. You remember that you went to my first bodybuilding show ever that I ever did. I got a picture of us afterwards with all the trophies.
It was in that little auditorium in Bakersfield.
Yeah, with all the trophies and whatnot. And you just went off. I remember he like took you under his wing, and you were on tour with him. You went to like the
crazy
fitness expos in
UK, Australia.
Yeah,
it was crazy. Yeah, I'm telling you, it was. Like I look back and I'm like, man, that was wild.
What would you say was the biggest thing you learned from that experience with Rich Piana?
The thing is with Rich, like the thing that he always told me is like he always let me know like, I want to help you grow. I don't want you to you can be bigger than like just here. Like his whole thing was, you could do this on your own. And he was just wanted to help me and teach me like how to do that. And I remember at that time, I wasn't a powerlifter at the time. He was, wanted me to lift because he said that's what would be impressive is people seeing me lift heavy and outlifting guys that are, able-bodied, perfect, specimens, and stuff like that. And I remember at that time I had like the little beard. I didn't have like a mohawk. I had like more of like a faux hawk type of thing.
Yeah, I remember.
And I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know if I was going to like bodybuild or if I was going to lift and everything. And I just remember one day Rich says, he goes, I'm telling you right now, this is what's going to do it for you. Get as strong as you can. Get as big as you can. Don't worry about your physique right now. Like, he's like, I'm not saying become a big old fatty, but don't worry. You need to get big and strong. shave your head and grow your mohawk out legit, grow a big ass beard and be an animal. And he goes, people are going to love that. And then, well, here we are.
Here we are.
And then and here we are. You know what I mean? So, I mean, the beard used to be longer. I've kind of cleaned up because I do more business now stuff, but, you know, and the mohawk's still there.
Yeah.
But it's just, you know, that was it. And I remember just like really, you know, kind of at that time, kind of laughing because I couldn't see myself at that time. And I wasn't into powerlifting or anything. And then I went to Vegas to see my first powerlifting meet, and the adrenaline of it and everything hit me like a freight train. And I was like, oh shit, this is what I want to do. This is legit what I want to do. And then powerlifting kind of started for me. But yeah, I would say it was that moment that, I remember sitting in his house and him telling me, like, you know, really telling me that like I could be something on my own without him and being on like the 5% thing.
Yeah.
And so eventually got to a point where, you know, I had to go to his house and I sat down and talked to him and explained to him that I kind of wanted to go out on my own. And he didn't want me to yet. He wanted to help grow me a little bit more, but he said, if anybody could do it, you could do it. And then we shook hands and we were friends, and he wished me well. And then I went over to Primeval Labs, a new startup supplement company, and became an actual athlete for the first time ever with a supplement company.
Yeah.
And then I was with them for like 4 years, I think,
I remember
almost,
that.
for a very long time, from when they were nothing.
Yeah.
And now they're multi-million-dollar supplement
they're a big
company.
brand now.
Big brand. And I'm still friends with the owner. The owner actually lives in Bakersfield. He's always lived there. I didn't know that for quite some time, but I go have, you know, dinner with him, and we still talk to this day, you know, and I was with them for forever. They didn't want me to leave. And they didn't know really what I was doing, but that was when I was like getting ready to start my brand. And they thought I was going to they actually thought I was going to go to Animal.
Okay.
Because I do a lot of stuff with Animal and in the cage and stuff like that. So they thought that's where I was going to go, and I kind of fit that whole look.
Yeah.
But no, and then he goes, you're going to start your own supplement company, aren't you? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
It just got to a point where I realized what my sales were, and I'm like, why do I want to make a percentage of money when make you guys all this money? I mean, they were taking care of me, but it's just like,
you're expendable at that point.
I mean, if I get injured, are you going to keep me? You know what I mean? Type of thing. If I get injured now, there's still a company there, you know, that can still facilitate me and take care of me and my family, you know? So that was just kind of like a point where I was like, I'm going to step into this life. But I would say that was it for Rich with me. It was that meeting. I remember, I'll never forget it, sitting in his house. He was eating a bowl of spaghetti. You know, and editing his own videos. He always edited his own videos.
Yeah.
He had people that would film him, or his girlfriend would film him, but he would always every morning sit there and edit his own videos right then and there.
Yeah.
The guy was one of the hardest working dudes I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was a hustler.
He was.
For anybody that doesn't know who Rich Piana is, he was the founder of 5% Nutrition, which is a supplement company, but also a bit of a movement. Like it was a full on movement. I remember going to the Fit Expos in 2015 at 16 and seeing the 5% crew, like a bunch of monsters, just the biggest dudes you'd ever seen, kind of alternative tattoos, mohawks, piercings, like very much against the grain compared to the rest of the fitness clean cut kind of industry. Yeah. And it was just cool. It was a cool thing to witness. Right. And he blew up, and he passed away a couple of years ago.
Yeah. I'm not, there's a lot of rumors of like what he passed away from. You know, I don't know, to be honest with you. And I didn't really want to dig. I didn't ask. I didn't want to dig. It was a sad situation. I mean, Rich lived a lifestyle, you know, and everybody knows that. And, you know, and just it happened, and it was hard. It was hard on me. You know, I was, like I said, I was pretty close. I mean, I was at his wedding, you know, when he got married and stuff like that in Vegas, but it was hard on me. Very sad, you know, and I mean, it hit the industry hard. Yeah. I mean, you're talking, at that time, there was nobody bigger than him in the industry. Nobody. I mean, you could go to an expo, and I mean, he'd shut that place down.
Figuratively and literally.
I mean, his lines were just, I mean, hours and hours, and you know, and I appreciated him a lot for what he did and how he was with the people, man. He loved the people. You know, I mean, expos would shut down and he'd stay there. You know, and I remember this time in the UK, we were at the Body Power, and you know, they were trying to get everybody out and telling Rich, like, you got to go, and he's like, I'm not gonna walk away. Like, if you want me to go, then you have to get them out of here. And the security didn't make the people leave, and then so Rich stayed. You know, I think 2 hours after the expo was already done, and I remember, you know, after he got done, he just laying flat on the floor. His legs were just, he was annihilated, because he will stand the whole time. Yeah, and he just had to lay on, big guy standing that many hours, you know, and just laid on the floor for like an hour because he was just so beat up from standing there. But he did it, and then what'd he do? We'd eat, and we'd go train and shoot videos right after. I mean, the guy's an animal. He was a hustler, like you said, for sure. And kind of inspiring. That's where I, you know, kind of try to make myself be at and stuff like that. So just learned a lot from that guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I
a
mean,
ton.
clearly he's had a significant impact on the trajectory of your life. So that's
Yeah.
probably one of the most pivotal meetings that
Oh,
you've ever
yeah.
had. And obviously you've had another one before that, which if you want to get into it,
Yeah.
I'd love to go into this story
Yeah.
a little bit more about in 2010 when you were in the Army
Mhm.
and you just walk me through it.
Yeah. So I was in the Army for about just shy of 10 years. I did Iraq in 2005, 2006, and then was in Baghdad out there, and then came back. I loved the military. I was a lifer for sure. I mean, I joined fairly young, at like just a little over 18, 19 years old. I was right in there, and then I was airborne infantry. So that's when the wars were going, and I don't know. I just had this calling. I felt like I wanted to be a part of it, and I felt like I could do the job. And so yeah, I joined, and then yeah, Iraq 05, 06 in Baghdad, and then came back, loved it so much, re-enlisted, became a sergeant, and then was stationed out in Washington State. And then I was there for a couple years, and then we got the orders that we were going to be the first striker brigade to go into Afghanistan in 2009. And so I didn't know really what to expect. I just heard stories of Afghanistan, but I was like, in my head, I was like, I did Baghdad 05. Like, how bad could it be? But Afghanistan in 2009, 2010 was like one of the heavy hit casualties, U.S. casualty years, during that time. That's when we did an influx into Afghanistan, and where it's really just kind of maneuvering through the whole country, and trying to rid of like Taliban and stuff like that. So the casualty rate's going to get high, obviously. But so I was out there, and I mean, I was there for a year, and I was getting ready to come home, and I think I was packed up pretty much, ready to come home. I was supposed to have a helicopter in a couple days to come get me. I was going to go home a little bit earlier than everybody else because I got there 2 months before everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember just I was going to go on one more patrol, and then I was done. And I remember like talking to my wife at the time on the phone, and just kind of giving her the secret words that I got to do a patrol type of thing, and where she has an understanding of, like, I'm going out on a mission. And it was just just a nice routine patrol, and then we went out on the patrol, and then yeah, we were just cruising around. I think it was like 2 a.m. or something like that. And then yeah, my vehicle we ran over a pressure plate IED that was just so massive. It literally like engulfed my striker pretty much, and put a 2-man size hole directly beneath where I was standing at, and opened it wide open. And then yeah, I mean, I remember just going down into a ravine, and then we were going to go down into a ravine. It's kind of like a river, and then come up out of it. And when we came up out of it, we had a truck in front of us, a striker in front of us. He had rollers, and those rollers are to hit those pressure plates and detonate before the actual vehicle gets all up in it. And we were the second right behind the rollers, but when the guy went up in front, my driver came up, and that that whole front of that vehicle's on. When it came down, he went left a little bit and got out of the tracks of those rollers and stuff, and that was just the spot where that IED was sitting at perfectly, and it just blew up. And then when it happened, I remember it happening, like, and me waking up and thinking, I didn't think I got blown up, because I was the guy. I was so good at finding bombs. Like, I was the guy that did it. I had a very good eye for it. 2 o'clock in the morning, dust, it's a little harder, night vision a little harder. But I remember just waking up and seeing my whole squad knocked out unconscious. And I just see all the smoke and dirt and everything. I could smell everything. And I'm like, I thought we rolled our vehicle. I thought we just came up, because last thing I remember was up, and then down, and I thought maybe we rolled. And then all of a sudden I realized, like, we got hit by an IED.
Wow.
And so I'm yelling at my guys, because we, on that deployment, we had one of my commander, and his whole truck got hit by an IED, and it flipped it, and it caught on fire, and it burned everybody and killed everybody, with like burned them alive pretty much. So I remember just seeing all the smoke and everything. So I immediately started screaming at all my guys to like wake up and get out of the vehicle, that the vehicle could be on fire. So they started like getting out of the vehicle. And then when they got out, I went to go like get myself out, and I realized I can't use this hand. And I just started feeling like, I just was like, oh man, I'm beat up. I couldn't move my legs. I couldn't feel them. I thought they were gone. I couldn't feel them at all. So I remember just getting my hand, taking my glove off, and rubbing all my body as much as I could with how much I could move. So I was pinned down by all kinds of just crap, and just as much as I could, and trying to feel. And I could feel my parts of my legs. I couldn't reach down all the way, but I was like, okay, there's my knees, stuff like that. And then feeling everywhere, feeling all up me. And then I just had a light on my helmet, and I looked, I just had blood, oil, battery acid, just, you could see all the stuff just on my hands. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, I'm pretty messed up. And so I thought maybe my legs are blown off from the bottom, And then I just remember trying to yell for the guys, and they came. Two of them came back in, and they were yelling for me, and I was like, I'm stuck, I can't move. And so I remember them turning their lights on and getting in there. And I was like, is the vehicle on fire? And they were like, no, it's not on fire. And I was like, okay, get me out of here. And when the look on their face, I could tell, I was like, oh, I'm pretty beat up right now. And so this hand worked perfectly. And on the ceiling of the truck, we had these little handrails that we could grab. So I remember I'm just trying to pull myself up while they're trying to help, grab me. And I remember one getting behind me and able to grab me from my vest, and then my other one guy grabbed me from my legs. And when he lifted me up, so much pain, just so much pain. And then this right leg, the knee was fully dislocated. So it was just kind of like swaying around, kind of a thing. This leg was just brutalized. I mean, it was just swelling. It was just, there's blood coming. It's real weird, and I remember this getting me out of the vehicle and laying me down behind the truck on the dirt. And then my doc came and, and that was my boy, we were real close, and Doc Kirker. And I just remember being like, don't mess with me. Like, how bad is it? He's like, it's pretty bad. We got a lot of bleeding. We got to stop, and etc. I caught shrapnel up inside my leg, almost into my groin. And I was like, is my manhood there, man? Are we good? And he's like, that you're fine. I was like, thank God, man. Like, I was like, cause I was stressed. It almost blew my pants off.
Wow.
The pressure was so bad. And I had severe second and third degree burns going down my legs from the battery acid and the sulfur nitrate or whatever from the explosive stuff. And so, he's sitting there working on me. And I just remember them calling medevac and a helicopter coming, and I was kind of going in and out, Obviously, they gave me some morphine and stuff too, but they needed me to stay awake. And so, I remember helicopter coming on. I remember just this big brawly boy coming up and just kind of smacking me in the face and just being like, wake up, you're going to make it, and loaded me on the helicopter. And the last thing I remember is flying in that helicopter, and that helicopter was hauling ass. And it was just nose down, low to the ground, and just flying. So I was in my head, I'm like, I know I'm pretty bad right now. And then, just getting wheeled into the ER right there at the Kandahar Air Base. And then I don't remember anything until, let's see, I woke up one time. The next time I woke up, I was in Germany. I woke up once. I had a flashback of the explosion and woke me up. And they gave me some medicine and put me down. I guess I was having a severe blood clotting at that time. So they didn't even know if I was going to make it out of that hospital. They thought the potential blood clots killing me was very high. So they almost flew my family out to Germany, not knowing if I was going to even make it back to the States because the blood clotting was so bad. I had both my legs at the time, and they were trying to save everything, that they could. And then they kind of got me stable. And then I remember just flying from Germany to the States. And I remember at one point, like, kind of waking up and looking, and I just remember seeing all the wounded soldiers on that plane, and I just wanted some water, and they gave me like a cap full of water because they can't give me a lot, and just to wet my mouth.
Wet your mouth.
And then I went back out. I don't remember anything after that. And then next thing you know, I remember waking up in Washington D.C. and I was in this like little ambulance truck, and there was a few other people there, and there was this girl. She had blew her leg off, got her leg blown off way up high. An RPG kind of hit a wall that she was on and took her leg, and she was pretty messed up. She was pretty hysterical, pretty upset and sad. It's a girl, pretty girl too. And I just remember trying to like talk to her, and I'm like all messed up too. And I'm just like trying to like calm her down, and it's going to be okay. And then we got to Walter Reed Hospital, and I remember them wheeling us in this big doorway, and there's just like all the state flags and the American flag. And it's like this whole beautiful entry of this hospital. And then I don't remember nothing after that at all. I remember I was in ICU for a little less than 2 months, I believe, something like that. And then I don't remember any of ICU. And then I started waking up when they put me in the ward, and I was bedridden for, months.
And at that time, did you still have the leg, or did they amputate it?
No, so I still had the leg. I had the leg from, let's see, I got blown up. Let's see, April. I got blown up, February, I think, April. I don't even know anymore. And then, so November. So what happened was I was going through an extensive amount of surgeries to try to save the leg. I had the halo thing around the leg.
Yeah.
I know that the doctor told my dad that when they cut my leg on both sides, they cut it open, like bones just fell out on the table. It was so bad. It was just shattered. And I remember trying to go through rehab with it and stuff like that. And this leg was, had been dislocated. The ankle had been broken. And so, but they hadn't done any type of surgery on my knee yet because they didn't want to open that up to cause more open things. The risk of infection gets higher. So my knee was just in a straight leg kind of like cast thing. And I remember having this halo thing on my leg and, trying to do rehab with that and trying to learn how to walk on it. And it was just so painful. And I remember just going down to the amputee ward where all these amputees were and just seeing them like recover very fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got to a point where I was like, dude, well, how bad is this thing? And they were like, well, you're going to have fusions, and you'll have kind of like, your foot will just be like an L,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, the chance of me probably having to have amputation down the road, they said it could. And, I would have dealt with a lot of problems.
Yeah.
But the thing was, I was so young, they thought I could recover okay. And I just said, cut this thing off, man. And they're, and I have that right at that time to make that decision. And they were like, you're sure that's something you want to do? And I said, they're like, why don't you talk to your family about it? So, I talked to my wife at the time, and then my whole family sat down, and my mom's crying, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And my ex is crying, at the time, and everything. And I'm just like, dude, you guys understand the pain. Like, this is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And to live my life like this and not, and then only probably have to have it anyway. I don't want to, I'm young now. I can rehabilitate quick, and I can live the rest of my life trying to figure out how to adapt to this, And I just remember saying, look at all the guys down there just killing it right now, so, we all had an agree. They understood my reasonings. And then I saw like 3 psychiatrists. They make you see these psychiatrists to make sure you're in the mental state to make this decision.
Mm-hmm.
And then, everything was good. And then went in there, and there's nothing like going to sleep knowing the next morning you're going to get wheeled in to get your body parts cut off, So it was a long night, rough, I was in a lot of pain. So thank God, I was on meds and stuff like that. But yeah, I woke up the next day and, wheeled me in there. And I would say after that, I felt like I was fully recovered right after they had amputated that leg. I felt a million times better.
Oh.
And I was out of the bed in a wheelchair, wheeling myself around within 24 or 48 hours. I was outside. I hadn't been outside, and I couldn't tell you how long. And I was happy,
Mm-hmm.
immediately happy. I have no regrets of that decision at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I said, it was like almost like all the sickness and everything that I was feeling was gone.
It was almost like relief.
It was a relief for sure. And then the recovery for being an amputee started, and that was a long process. I dealt with a lot of nerve pain for a minute.
Yeah.
The weird thing is the mind is weird, right? I know you're really into like the whole mind space type thing. And so like, you have this thing called phantom pain where you think your limbs there. Yeah. You think it hurts. There's nothing more painful than nerve pain. I can tell you that right now, because I've been through every type of pain. That nerve pain is a whole different animal, and it's hard to control. And so I had phantom pain for a long time. And everybody always asks me, like, well, when did it go away? And I swear you not, it's when I got my prosthetic and my eyes look down and see a foot, and the pain started going away immediately almost. And it's so crazy. Like my brain is like triggering, like, well, your nerves are freaking out, but you got a foot.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what I mean? And so the only time I ever get nerve pain is when I'll take my leg off sometimes. I'll like be in bed or something like that, and it'll get like a jolt of shock or something like that. I'm like, oh God. There's been times it hurts so bad, I'll put my leg on, walk around the house a little bit, and then it goes away.
Wow.
It's super weird.
That's really
super weird. It's like
yeah.
the brain, it's just what it does. It's crazy. And so I have people all the time, like, amputees are like, man, it's phantom pain. Like, how did you get rid of it? I'm like, I just got a foot.
Look at it.
I got a foot,
yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah.
And so that's that. Yeah. So as soon as I got that, I had no more phantom pain really.
Yeah.
Occasionally here and there. I started learning how to move real well, and then I had to become. I basically had to I had to be very good on this leg because we were about to start surgeries on this leg. So I would actually crutch on this leg after having my full knee reconstruction and quad reconstruction and ankle reconstruction. And so I would basically, crutch around on a prosthetic leg or something like that.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I remember I've heard you say before, this is your good leg.
It's my good leg. The prosthetic side is the good leg.
The prosthetic's the good leg.
This right leg, if I had a healthy right leg, I'd be crazy.
Yeah.
But this right leg holds me back so much.
Yeah.
I had to actually have a full knee replacement here this year.
Wow.
That I'm gonna kind of like trying to hold off on so I can compete one more time. But
is that a result of just wear and tear, or is it wear and tear from powerlifting?
It's from the explosion. I mean, it was gonna have to happen at some point, but obviously with what I do has caused it to basically like the bones. I have no meniscus, so it's been bone on bone for so many years. And doing what I'm doing, the bones have like the friction has caused them, and they're shifting. And so it's just causing me a lot of.
Have doctors reached out to you, or do you have a doc that you see that suggests not to powerlift?
Oh, they all
of them.
Yeah, every single one.
What do you say to them?
Laugh. Just laugh. Like I say, yeah. Well, I mean, you know what I mean. Doctors, they tell you, I get it, like their medical whole thing, but my whole thing is like, how many times has somebody been told like not to do something and then they do it and it becomes the most amazing thing ever. And, that's how you evolve, right? It's just kind of going against the grain type of thing. And
Mhm.
sometimes, yeah, you should listen to doctors, don't get me wrong, but, if you have it and you feel it in yourself, then like, why would you not? I mean, that's just, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was nobody doing what I'm doing when I started doing this. There wasn't
Yeah.
a powerlifter or a person in the world lifting and pushing the amount of weight that I was doing. I mean, I blew out so many ankles, prosthetic ankles, because there was nothing out there on the market that was
Strong enough.
built
Yeah.
to, and then this company with this ankle that I have now, they were just kind of getting going and they reached out to me and they said, "Hey, I think we got an ankle that can handle what you're doing." And they sent it to me for free. And I tested it. I still have to this day, same one. And
Wow.
they laugh because they're like, "That's a dinosaur. Like, let us send you a new one." And I'm like, "Nah, if this one breaks, then you can, but it hasn't broken in this many years." But yeah, even to this day, doctors, I
Yeah.
went to talk to them about this knee replacement thing, and they're like, "Well, when you get this knee replacement, you're probably not going to be able to power lift." And I said, "Well, we'll just see how it goes when I start doing it."
Yeah. You've
It's
heard
just
this before.
heard this before. I
Yeah.
mean, I had so many people doubt me that I would ever be able to compete head to head against able bodied athletes in powerlifting because of this. And other amputees that become it, they don't understand how I do it either, and they figure it out.
Mm.
Now there's amputees everywhere powerlifting. It's the most amazing thing. And, and they all reach out to me, talk to me about things, and it's doable. I've
Mhm.
just had to learn how to change my biomechanics. My
Mhm.
body I have to do things differently
Mhm.
and build the strengths off of the way that I move. Right.
Mhm.
So no, they tell me all the time, but I mean, I mean, think about
Yeah.
bodybuilding.
You
How
don't.
many, I mean, fitness in period, doctors don't think that what we do is the right bodybuilding and stuff
Mhm.
is not the right thing. They
Mhm.
think, you go to a doctor and they tell you, you shouldn't take aminos. What? They're doctors. It's just different. They just don't understand. They don't understand everything.
Yeah.
But, I get it that they understand like the muscles and the bones and stuff like that. But I don't
They
know.
don't
I just feel
understand
like
your spirit though.
right.
They don't
It's,
understand that spirit that you have
yeah.
because clearly you have like a warrior mentality and like
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
ever since I've known you, obviously before we met, like
Yeah.
you went through this, and even before that, you were a UFC fighter,
Yeah.
right? You were in
MMA
the
fighter.
ring,
I didn't get to UFC, but
MMA,
MMA
yeah,
fighter. Yeah.
MMA fighter.
Yeah.
Even still, now you're still
I'm
boxing. I've seen you've
boxing.
been training again for
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
then this powerlifting, career that you've carved out for yourself is nothing short of incredible because
Yeah.
you squat. You know,
Yeah.
I've seen you
To
squat like
depth. And
3 plates
comp depth.
to depth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I squat up. My best squat's like 565 right now.
that's insane.
Yeah.
I can't even do
Yeah,
565. I've
it's my
got 2
best.
able
That's
able
my
legs
best.
right
That's my
now.
best right now. It's
Yeah,
not. It's not fun. I'll tell you that. It's
yeah.
squatting, deadlifting is probably the most painful thing that I do when I lift. I mean, it's horrendous pain, but
What
I like it.
so what goes through your head? Run me through what goes through your head whenever you're in a powerlifting meet and you're up and you're going for your PR.
Yeah. So I mean, for me with that, it's one. I'm like I'm still so competitive. So I'm there to be the best dude. But I have to keep a lot of composure with myself because there's so many things that can go wrong with one little critical thing that I do and I miss or I don't set up right or something like that, especially with the knee. This
Mhm.
knee I've been waiting to just implode on right on stage, and just squirt everybody with blood and bones, because that's how much pressure's in that knee sometimes. So, there's a lot. There's a lot of, I can't sit there and say I'm not like, I don't have no fear in it, but the fear turns into adrenaline for me.
Mhm.
So like, when I get up there, a lot of people be like, they see me get real ramped up. And I was like, why do you get so ramped up before you lift? I'm like, cause I gotta get myself prepared mentally and hyped because I know when I start either pulling or squatting, the amount of pain and sheer pain I'm about to feel because there's so much pressure. I got to get myself ready for that, and I can't go up there all like nonchalantly and then all of a sudden pull it and just blah, it hurts.
Mhm.
So I hype myself up and I get myself ready for it, and then I just do it, man. And then, and with me, it's just obviously everybody gets so inspired and motivated to watching it that it's like
And it feeds off. Yeah,
I feed off that.
yeah, you feed off
I feed
that.
off people around me, and because that's like what I mean, I like lifting for me. Don't get me wrong. I lift. I've been doing this because it inspires people. It gives those people like that no excuses mentality. If he can do it, then I can do it. Type of
Mhm.
thing. And and so like that's it. I literally am just I can see everybody,
Mhm.
and I run through things in my head. I mean. I even, there's a lot of times I think about my buddies that aren't here anymore and stuff like that, and I kind of use everything I've been through as fuel to
Mhm.
lift. I mean, there's times that I think like I'm really not that strong. there's just so much more inside that I'm
Just scratching
lifting.
the surface.
That's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that I'm
Yeah.
just like, it's helping me do what it is that I do.
Hmm.
I mean, I have this event that I went to, and I had never touched 635 pounds. Never even, never. And there was just so many people there, so hyped on me. I was lifting and everything was just moving so fast because I was just so in the zone, and like all the energy was like feeding into me.
Hmm.
And then I remember just pulling this one weight, probably faster than I've ever pulled it. And I was like, I was stoked. I was done. I was like, y'all just saw that, And then everybody's like 635, and I was like, no way. I've never touched that ever. And I just said, if you guys want to see it, I'll do it for you. I said,
Mhm.
I'll do it, and racked it up and paced around for a while. It was out like an indoor. Also, it was at one of the biggest with nutritions and
Yeah.
out there. And I just really was just like, how am I going to do this? And just kind of saying that, went up there, got myself in this state of mind, and then just the people. And then, dude, sure enough, that shit flew off the ground fast. And I
Mhm.
just couldn't, I mean, I was shocked,
Mhm.
and I was real pumped. And it's just, yeah, that's just what it is for me. It's like,
Mhm.
I'm telling you, it's like, there's a lot of times it's not that I'm not strong. It's the energy and stuff like that. It has to be. Because I
Mhm.
mean, like I said, weight that I've never touched. Yeah, I train to be stronger, but I can feel it. Like I have an understanding.
Of where your
And
limits are,
oh
and then
yeah,
you
like
have
I kind
this.
of know, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and then to do things that sometimes just
Yeah.
out of the blue are just
Mhm.
it's crazy.
Mhm.
It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, I would love to hear. There's always so many parallels between the gym or, weightlifting
Yeah,
and life,
yeah,
because you do have to approach it similar. Like, it's going to be hard.
yeah.
You know that you're going to have to put in the work. You can't go around it. You got to go through it. You got to have that mental fortitude to be able to be comfortable and actually seek out that pain
Oh
and
yeah,
discomfort to grow and
right,
evolve. So
right.
how is powerlifting and being in the position you are and inspiring that many people, how is that translated outside of the gym?
Oh well, like so. I have a realization like of how far I'm able to really push myself
Mhm.
with my body and mind. There's Disneyland is a nightmare. My daughter loves Disneyland. You can have two beautiful legs and Disneyland will own that ass. You know what I mean? And my daughter, she loves Disneyland. And I'm telling you, I'll be walking that thing and I'm just like in agonizing pain. And I'm like, dude, if I can lift hundreds of pounds with all the pain or train for 3 hours, through all that pain, my ass can walk Disneyland with my daughter and just go through the pain. And when I get with that is just the mind, right? It's allowed me to have an understanding of all this pain. I'm not going to die.
Mhm.
It's just pain.
Feels like you're not.
Sucks,
Yeah. Yeah.
sucks,
Yeah.
but you're not gonna die. And so I literally get to that point with myself now. Like when knee starts hurting, leg starts hurting, stuff. I just don't tap out anymore. I may start sweating a little more. I may be a little bit more
Mhm.
agitated because pain does that, but I don't stop no matter what it is that I'm doing, whether it's walking Disneyland or deadlifting 600 something pounds or squatting, whatever amount of pounds. And it's allowed me to transition. It's just allowed me to have an understanding of like, how strong the mind is over the body, and that's
Mhm.
where I've just gotten myself. Like I honestly feel like I can almost go through anything, and I'm gonna be able to get through it, pain
Mhm.
wise.
Mhm.
And so nothing really, and it's gotten to a point where nothing really scares me now to deal with pain. I'm
Mhm.
not scared of pain at all because I deal with it every day.
Yeah.
I'm in pain every single day. Like this morning, I woke up, I was a nightmare today. This morning, I was like, oh my god, like sucks, because just the bones is I have, severe arthritis through my whole entire body, and so what I realize is it sucks for the first like hour or so, but once I get going, I'm okay,
Mhm.
but yeah, it does.
Do
It
you go
sucks.
through any like mantras or tell yourself anything, or you just kind of been in that arena so many
I just, I
times to where
just,
you
I
just
just,
like,
I just say, feet to ground, man. Let's just
yeah.
go. Cause I mean, what's going to happen when I'm just going to lay here and I'm trying to live my life.
Mhm.
Can't live your life, just, sitting there. So, I start moving, and just get moving. And I've just had the understanding, like I do it, it's every day. So I know, just get up and start going, and even with the powerlifting, you got to think, I mean, bodybuilding like you wake up sore,
Mhm.
and so, and you go train, and same for me, it's, I wake up and like, yeah, I may have squatted and deadlift, but I had to put in the work, I still have to go train almost every day. So,
Mhm.
I'm hurting still from the day before, and so, but I still got to go in there and train and put in the work. But like I said, I get in there and people see me coming in, they see me putting in the work training, they're motivated. People on Instagram, they're motivated because I'm putting in the work every single day. There's no excuses, and that's the mentality I've built for myself, and everybody knows me for. No excuses, just hard work, and that's just how you live your life like that. I mean, you can really, I really feel like that mentality has made me who I am, and everything that I do, whether it be lifting, business, relationships, friendships, things like that, and yeah, I mean, it's just powerlifting and just this whole entire journey is like, yeah, like I'd say the last couple of years, especially like my life and my mentality has just changed so much more. Cause I'm sitting back more because I haven't been training as much. I've been able to sit back more, kind of realize like, dang, man, powerlifting and all this whole thing, what it did so much for me in my mindset. So yeah, no, just got to get up, man. One foot in front of the other and just feet the pavement, man.
Yeah, and other people too. I mean, you're definitely inspiring so many people, and you are now a motivational speaker too. And you've put yourself in some really cool circles too, because you were with Rich Piana, that whole squad.
Yeah.
You also know like CT Fletcher, like
CT are real close to.
Yeah,
we text every once in a while. Yeah,
who's also gone through his whole thing. Do you ever talk to him? Or
yeah, we talk about. I talked to CT. I texted him the other day.
Yeah,
one of my friends, one of my good friends. His niece, she's real young. I think she's like 8 or 9. She got diagnosed with leukemia. And so, it was real hard on him. And I really wanted to try to like not just like uplift him a little bit, but like uplift her at the same time and try to get some people to like reach out to me, like send me videos or whatever to send to her, this little girl, and to him and to his family. Just realize there's a lot of us that have been through a lot, and just gotta be a fighter, and you can get through it. And so, I call CT that night, sent me a video, to send to this little girl, and that's just how the kind of man he is, since he understands he's been through it, right? Been through, the guy went through a heart transplant, and that changed his life. His whole mentality is different on life too now, but, and I just had a lot of people do that for me. So yeah, no, CT, still real good friend of mine. We talk, talk every month at least minimum. And, I need to get down. I'm trying to get stronger again right now before I kind of come back out, because I haven't really been collabing or doing anything for so long, because I'm like, nobody wants to see me just lift some bull. You know what I mean? So I got to come out.
You set the bar high for yourself.
I'm like, man, I'm like 250 right now, but I'm not like all brawly like I was. I'm just built different right now. So I was boxing and just doing everything, but I'm just trying to, now my goal is to have this really just vicious looking physique and just strong as hell at the same time. And that's just kind of like my goal, where I'm trying to get ready to start doing here shortly, and then compete again. But yeah, no, CTs, yes. I put myself around some, I've met some incredible people. I've got a lot of Julian Smith. Me and that guy, we talk all the time. Me and him have become really good friends, like actually in the industry, and not, more than just an acquaintance type of thing. Like I fly out and hang out at his house with him and his family and stuff. And then, Rob and Dana Bailey, I became, real good friends with them. They'd fly me out to a bunch of events they would have to do speaking and lifting, and so, yeah, this whole thing's been, it's been crazy.
It seems like the fitness industry really like embraced you and like really loves you.
Which is weird, because I used to stand in line for all these people.
Yeah, I remember we used to stand in line together.
It was just like so crazy.
Some of these people.
I remember standing in line for Jay Cutler, and now I walk by and Jay's like, "What's up, Casey?" And I'm like, "What's up, Jay?" Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, it's just weird. You know what I mean? And I remember I tell people, I remember doing this motivational speaking thing with Rob and Dana Bailey, and it was one of the first, probably the second time. And I remember just like telling the story about how I used to, before I go train with you and stuff like that, I would literally click on the YouTube and watch Dana and CT and and Rich, like before I was anything, like watch them to get motivated to go train. And now I have videos of me with them on YouTube training with them and stuff like that. So it's just real surreal, man. Like how everything's kind of like panned out in this life so far.
Yeah. You also do some work with, I've seen you go to prisons. And do you do motivational talks to those guys?
So I do a lot of motivational talks with all types of things, because, my whole thing is like, I think that some people, they get into a bad rhythm because life sucks, and you can fall into some bad things, and I get it. Like I've been through like my drug addiction, which was my narcotics that I was in, because I was on it for 3 years before I got, whatever, then they still prescribed them to me. And then I, at that time I moved to Bakersfield, and I just got depressed. Because I didn't know anybody. I felt like I had no self-worth. I wasn't even making any money. I wasn't even making my retirement money at the time. So I had, my family had a house, and I had no money really coming in yet. It's very scary and depressing. I my whole body, I didn't know what to do with myself, you know, and I basically like played video games and drank beer and took pills, and that was basically ate pizza. And I mean, I didn't really do shit, you know, and so like, you know, I get where like life sucks and you could be like at the bottom, you know, of the pits. And so, you know, these guys, I feel like these guys that are in prison, you know, maybe they're at the bottom of the pits. In my eyes, if you're in jail or prison, it's pretty bad for you. So, you know, I try to like give these guys some understanding of like, you know, there's hope out there, man. You just got to really dig into like, you know, what it is you want to, where do you want to be with your life? You know, surround yourself with those people that where you want to be. And, you know, and so I have a soft heart, you know, for people that I feel like are just really going through it and they're just at a really low point in their life. So I try to, you know, go there and let them see like you know, give them an idea of like where I've been, you know, like basically dying, bleeding out on a foreign dirt, you know, somewhere to almost dying in my house of like, you know, pills and shit and alcohol and whatever to, you know, realizing like life's worth a lot more than a jail cell or laying on a floor, you know, narcotics or something like that, you know? And so I just kind of like go there and try to give them like a little light, you know, and just realizing like, damn, this guy's been, this guy, it sucks. Way worse than anything I've been through. You know what I mean? And then just try to, hopefully that'll motivate him, inspire him
Give them
to,
some perspective. Yeah.
you know, that life's not always, it's not always that bad where you're at, you know, just, and if it is, you're able to dig yourself out of it if you really want to. It's not gonna, you know, it's not gonna happen overnight. I mean, powerlifting, I trained for over a whole entire year before I ever was able to step onto a platform. And it's hard to sit there and think like it's never gonna happen and never gonna happen. And then one day you go in there and it happens, you're like, holy shit, it's happening, you know, and that's just how it works. You got to put in the work to, you know, to get the end result. And it can happen quicker. It can take a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about the powerlifting stuff too, because I'm curious how you train for that. Like, how do you? Because I know what it's like to train for a bodybuilding show where you go 8-12 weeks out, and it's not about strength though. It's about looking strong.
Right.
You like your strength when you're bodybuilding goes significantly down the closer you get to a show, but you look nice. But you would not be able to peak, you know, in PRs the day of a show.
No.
Like, but so what does that strategy look like for you?
I mean, so right now, you know, so I train typically 4 days a week. Because with powerlifting, it's not just your body, your nervous system has to recover. And that is more important than the muscles in your body. So me, I train Monday, Tuesdays, off Wednesdays, Thursday, Fridays, then off the weekends. So with powerlifting, you know, in our off season, we go through hypertrophy training, which is we're still bench, squat, deadlift, we're doing all that, but it's at high volume, you know, and then we do a ton of like work, dumbbell rows. I mean, bodybuilding, call it power building, right? So we do a bunch of that. We do tend to try to want to lift heavy, even with the dumbbell work and all the cable work and stuff. We'd still try, you know, you're not just going through the motion. We're not so much, I don't want to say we're not like focusing on the muscles like bodybuilders do, because we are, but you're still trying to get strong over there too, because that just transfers over to the powerlifting side, right? So we do a ton of that. Once you're doing that in your off season, I usually start my training 8 to 12 weeks out, depending on the comp. And then, you know, it starts out with the volume and good weight and stuff like that. And as you get closer to your comp, your volume's going down, you know, your sets are, you know, going down and the weight's just getting heavier and doing, you know, triples and doubles and then maybe a singles, you know, and you're doing 3 or 4 sets of those on deadlifts. And then you're going to kind of like an alternate, like deadlift, I guess you could say, like deficits or block pulls. And you're doing those a little bit heavier too, but a little bit more volume, right? And then as the weeks get closer, the sets drop and the reps drop even more. So like right now, I have 2 of my clients that are getting ready to compete here in a few weeks. You know, this week they're hitting their singles. They're like heavy singles this week of squat, bench, deadlift all throughout the week. Then they're doing all their other little work. Well, even then, as we get closer, that other little work volume comes down a lot because it's not gonna help anymore.
Yeah. At this point, you're trying to conserve, and
we're trying to conserve energy, keep the central nervous system. We do it to get blood flow, which helps with recovery of the muscles. Like yesterday, they did deadlift, so I had them on, you know, doing some nice work on like leg press to decompress their back a little bit, because we have single squats on Friday, so I want their back feeling pretty good and decompressed. So the leg press after deadlifting and stuff will decompress the lower back. I had them hit hamstrings real hard because I wanted a bunch of blood flow in their hammies and their glutes and stuff like that. So And then so they're doing all their 1 rep works this week. The next week they're going to hit their openers, which are usually anywhere from like 60 to 70% of their max. Their openers. So in powerlifting, you get 3 lifts per station, per squat, bench, deadlift, right? So they're going to hit their openers. That's just to kind of like, I call priming their body to get ready to lift heavy, right? So next week they'll do that. And then they'll go into a straight full deload week, which they do no training whatsoever. Full system shutdown pretty much. We allow the body to fully recover. They're able to do like light stretching, some like a little bit of cardio, like walking cardio, like 15, 20 minutes on a little slight incline, just a nice walk, right? We want to keep blood flow going. And then, they rest and they sit there and they're gnawing at their hands because they're itching. They're ready to do it. I mean, that's what the body's ready. And then they show up to their comp and you unleash it all right there, And so, this couple that I got right now, they just competed like about a couple months ago, and their first one ever, and they annihilated it. She got best lifter. He hit his huge PRs. I mean, just yesterday, she outpulled her comp meet by 20 something pounds already.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, this is a girl that's going to pull over 400 deadlift, probably here in the next couple weeks. And either she's already qualified for nationals. We're trying to get him qualified for nationals, and then we'll go to Vegas and kick some ass over there. But she got best lifter out there in Bakersfield at that comp and stuff. So, and that's the thing too for me, is I'm very addicted into this coaching life of like this now. I love it. I try to go to almost all their meets and stuff. Any of my athletes, if they're in California nearby, I try to get there. Big ones I will fly to if I have to, but I've really gotten addicted to like that as
atmosphere.
Well. I love it. I love the coach. I love just seeing like them having full trust into me, and then like seeing like the work and like my knowledge that I know like come out all right there, and then people be like, "Dang, dude! Like now you got more people want to be coached." And so I would love to. That's something that I would love to do down the road eventually. Like I said, I'm ready to try to compete myself, so it's hard for me to
do both at the same time.
Just when I compete, I just want focus.
You gotta really
I'm
selfish,
a real shut down person, and I'm like a dog, man. Like and that's another reason why I kind of pulled back so bad, because my daughter's just growing. Remember her? She's a little baby when you met her. She's up to my damn jawline.
I've seen the photos.
She's out of control.
It's wild to see.
Yeah, and she's like die hard into volleyball now. And so now I'm about volleyball dad. Like I'm a dad, man. I'm at her practices and trying to help her out, and I'm at her tournaments, and I'm like, whose kid is that out there? Getting mad, and I'm not dad. I'm like, so it's.
Does she have that competitive edge?
Oh yeah,
like you
now finally. Yeah. I mean, she was a little timid for so long, but she's such an athlete. Like anything that me and her mom have ever put her into, she just murders it. Like her mom wanted her to do competition cheer. I hated it. Like it was cute seeing my little daughter get all dolled up, and she, wasn't about it. Had never really done anything like. But we put her in tumbling, put her in cheerleading, and she was murdering it. Just so good. And then when COVID happened, that all like cheerleading thing, because of all the people together and stuff, kind of ended. And then she didn't want to go back into it, so we put her in competitive swimming. Never been done competitive swimming, and moved up 6 levels in 2 months. I mean, and is just a beautiful swimmer. She doesn't want to do it, even though she doesn't want to do it. Me and her mom had her in there because she needed activity, right? Yeah. But she's competitive. Even though she doesn't want to do it, she's not going to go in there and lose,
Yeah. She's got that Mitchell spirit.
Yeah, and then we put her in, for 100%. And then we put her in volleyball because she said she liked doing volleyball at school. Yeah. So we put her in volleyball now, and it's like, that's her jam. Like that's where she's going to be at. I think that's her sport for the rest of her, life. And so, volleyball's gotten real serious, And so, for example, just how competitive she is. So she's 12. And so with this league that they're in, they all practice together, all these 50, 60, 70 little girls, they all practice together. Well, each week, the tournament, they after tournaments coming up, they put these girls in teams. Well, after that tournament's over, the next week, they move you around, they put you in different teams, because it's about like meeting people, camaraderie, teamwork, stuff like that, right? So her first tournament, her team, amazing. They won 3 out of the 4 games. The last game was just a nail biter. It was awesome. And so they took first place. She's pumped, This last tournament, she's on a new team. Her team won 1 time out of 4. And next thing you know, after the last game, they lost by a point, which I felt like was a nail in the coffin for her. And I just remember her walking to me, and I could see it in her eyes, and just started crying. And I'm like, babe, why are you crying? Dad, we only won one game and they weren't listening to me. My daughter's like laying out, like my daughter's diving. Like she's badass, man. And she's just so upset that because she's a competitor, man. She wants to win.
Yeah.
And I have to explain to her, I said, baby, you have to understand like this, with a team, you can't win it on your own. You're going to have people there that are, it's a team thing, baby. It's just how it is. I said, but once you kind of get going and you understand, like, there's tryouts and there's stuff now. They're putting the best together, and that's how you win. And they said, this is just you're learning how to work as a team and stuff. And she doesn't care. She does
hilarious.
not care, man. And it's not that she's mean. It's just that she has that in her, and I love that. I didn't get mad at her for being upset or crying. I get it, like that, dude. I love seeing that in you. I'm not that participation trophy dad guy. Like there's times, like even after my daughter does amazing, I have to pull her aside and tell her what she can work on, because there's always things that we can work on. So she has that in her, and I love it. And me and her mom kind of like, me and her mom aren't together anymore, but we sit by each other, and we're on our daughter, and we want her to excel in it. But me and her mom looked and we just like laughed. We're like, where'd she get this from?
I was about to say
like,
that. Where do you think she got that from, Casey?
So it's just
better watch out. She's gonna pick up a dumbbell.
So it's just my life's just a little different right now with the kid and just everything. And so I really, like I said, I'm getting ready in that mindset to kind of, like I told you, we're talking before this. I'm going to shut a lot of stuff down, and because I have such a fire in me still right now. And I don't know how much longer I have to be able to compete at this type of level. And I'm just like, man, I still feel like there's a lot that I can do for a lot of people outside of doing what it is, all the other stuff that I'm doing, So I just feel like I don't want to get older and regret not pushing this off stuff to the side to know what I probably could have been capable of doing. And so, businesses and opportunities and entrepreneurships and all that's always that can always be there. What's not there is being able to compete at a certain level, because your body, I don't care,
to break down. You know what I mean?
It's
inevitable.
It's inevitable.
Yeah,
it's inevitable.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer that when you do pursue the things that you really want to do, and it feels like it's a full body fuck yes, like this is what I'm meant to be doing, that the opportunities and everything else will align itself. It'll bring you the people, the partnerships, everywhere that you need to be. As long as you follow that dream.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at. And I have people that are just like, dude, I wouldn't do that or whatever. And I'm like, you don't understand how it feels though. Like if let's say I did this and it didn't pan out how I thought, right? Like in the sense of I was able to bounce back and come over and do all the other outside stuff that I'm doing now. I would have no regrets with that. I'd be like, well, that's just the way. Okay, well, it is what it is. I would have regrets with not even giving it an attempt to try to be like, damn, I could have done that. Or me get older and watch some other amputee come in and just shatter all my records and be like, damn, I had so much more in me and I just let this guy eat, like take it like a slice of cake, man. You know what I mean? And that's the thing too, is these other amputees are just getting it. And, I don't want to say they're calling me out, but they're just like,
catching up.
I just see them and I'm just like, no, I'm not ready for that yet.
How does that work with it? Is it like depending on the type of amputee?
I mean,
or like, is it a category?
There's no categories of anything. There's just amputees are just amputees. I mean, we don't have there's not an amputee powerlifting league. There's nothing like that. It's just amputees we compete against, the able bodies and stuff like that. And people just know your numbers out there, like there's guys that are chasing them down, and there's some guys that are stronger than me in some of the categories, you know what I mean? But, at the same time, it's just, I see it. I mean, those guys that I used to motivate, they're kind of motivating me now. And then like I go to these powerlifting meets and I could just still feel that whole adrenaline that I felt the very first time I ever saw it. And I'm just like, man, it's still in there. It's not ready yet. It's not ready to be put down. And like, I miss that grit, and that type of stuff. And I just, like I said, I just want to get it in before I just can't, like realistically.
Do you have a number in mind that you want to pull?
700.
700 is the number?
Yeah. It's never been done by an amputee ever. So I'd like to pull 700. I'd like to bench press 500, and I'd like to squat like well over 600. Those are like some numbers in my head that I know are doable. But I have to be, that's what I have to do. I have to literally do that, and I'm friends with Eddie Hall, who, at one point owned like the world's strongest deadlift, and they have that big event out the UK where they deadlift out in front of just freaking everybody. I've always had this whole thing, this dream thing about like deadlifting, being like the first amputee to pull 700 right there in front of that crowd. Cause it's just like, it's in a stadium full of people. And, obviously these guys are lifting, 8,000-9,000 plus pounds, but I'm an amputee that's going to pull 700. I think it's motivating, right? And so, you know, I've had this whole thing in my head of like, that's where I guess I want to see, I want that.
Yeah.
I just want that, you know? And so anytime I've usually have visualized it, it's come true.
It comes true.
It does. It really does.
Power of manifestation. I think you visualize it, and I have no doubt in my mind that you would, that's going to become a reality in your future.
Yeah. I feel like that's what I want, man. It's just there. And it's just like, I just want to, and then I could put it to ease after that, I think, you know, and just focus on being everything. But I just don't want to take so much time away from my kid and just everything. So it's just like, if I shut it down for the next like year or so, maybe 2, I think I can I can get it there for sure. So yeah, man, it's just, crazy. Wow. So that's the goals, man. That's what's going on right now. I'm thinking I'm getting ready to pull the trigger. I got the stuff we talked about, you know, before we got on the air, and you know, I'm waiting. I'd say in 30 days, I should be all wrapped up, done, and I'll feel comfortable to where I'm like, okay,
now you can start refocusing on that.
Let's do this.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, dude, Casey, really appreciate you coming down and spending time with me.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure getting to reconnect with you and catch up after it's been a few years. So we're about to go train. You down?
Bench press, baby.
Yeah, I'm gonna go try to keep up with this guy.
I've taken I took it a couple weeks off. This elbow's been a little.
You could take a couple years off and you still be ahead of me. So
we'll see what we can do. I mean, I'm down to give it a whirl today. So just if the elbow, I'm one of those things. If the elbow goes, the elbow goes. The leg goes, the leg goes. I mean,
leave it all out there.
Leave it all out there in the gym, man. If you have to, there's a saying that saying that I have before you go. It's just die beneath the bar. You know, don't die. I have this saying that's I'd rather die under hundreds of pounds than to one day die not knowing what I was capable of. And that's a mentality I've kept in myself every time I get under the bar, squatting or deadlifting or bench pressing, man. I want to give it my all. And if it happens to go when it happens to go, at least I die knowing that what I was capable of doing with my life, man. And that's the mentality.
That's amazing. That's beautiful. So if you want to find Casey, give him a follow. I'll link all of his social medias down below. He posts incredible content. He's got a YouTube channel, so be sure to give him a follow, give him a like, leave a comment, a review if you enjoyed this episode. As always, I really, really appreciate you guys tuning in. And if you found something useful, please share it with a friend. I guarantee that somebody out there can benefit and become inspired by Casey's message and what he's doing in the world. So again, thank you so much. Until next time.